Hello everyone, Vovoshkana here, and you're listening to Honey at Home. Yes, it's another video where I'm remembering one of my earlier trips for which I didn't probably record much of a content. Let's go! Okay, this time I will tell you a story of how I went to Sweden for the first time, and I suppose everybody is already expecting that I went to Stockholm. And you would be wrong. I went to the second largest city of Sweden, which is Gothenburg. And the reason why I decided to go there instead of the world famous Stockholm is because of this. Yes, guys. I need to come out as the Foo Fighters fan. And basically, I really wanted to get on their concert because I have never been and I've been a fan for a long time. I wouldn't say that I'm a huge fan still, but back in that point of a time I was. So were making a world tour, and part of the tour was in Europe, and I wasn't able to get tickets for their concert in the Netherlands, nor their concert in Belgium, nor their concert in Luxembourg. So, out of the other options where I could easily go, it was Sweden, Gothenburg. Isn't that crazy? So, partially because I really wanted to see the concert, and partially because I've never went to Sweden, I decided to go. So, the whole trip maybe took for me 3 to 4 days. And here I am trying to tell you my experience from that. So, Gothenburg is probably not the most obvious cities, I suppose, that people would usually go. At least it felt to me there were not so many tourists. I think most of the people in the concert were also Swedes. So, I don't know. I think it felt to me that I was like one of those crazy guys that decided to actually do that. Plus, at that point of time, there was another big show happening in the city. I think in the stadium, next to the stadium where Foo Fighters had a show, there was like this crazy rave happening a couple of days before. So a lot of people came for that, but most of them I think were still from just other parts of the Sweden to get to see. I think Armin van Buuren was playing there, and some other big names. I just don't remember whom. And I actually still had an opportunity to go there, as it happened exactly on the day when I arrived, but I really didn't feel like it. So, as I already mentioned, I had pretty much 3 days to do something in the city, and I basically spent my first day on just trying to explore it. So I went to smaller places, like of course, I checked out where this stadium, I think it's called Ullevi. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Sorry for those who speak Swedish. Sweden. Oh my God. I walked around the city center, and the feeling I started to get from it, that it is similar to the experience what I had in St. Petersburg. So, the neoclassical architecture in the city center really gets you the vibe of something imperial. So you walk past those canals, you see those beautiful, monumentous, grandiose buildings. Even though that part is sort of small, there are not so many canals. Definitely not like in St. Petersburg or here in Amsterdam, for example, but still, you have the nice feeling about it. And I know that there are even some boat tours that people can rent their kayak or whatever, and just you go around the city center just checking out what's up. So, out of this attractions where I went, I think I went past the Fiskegurka? I think it is a fish market. Basically, the building still looks really, the style of the building is really distinctive, so you wouldn't miss it. and it already looked like something that is not really out there and bringing attention to it. So it's either a new cool place or just a historical site, which turned out to be. And what I really liked about Gothenburg is that it's so green. It's really probably the greenest city in Europe. There are so many parks, so many trees around. I really enjoyed spending my time just outside and not really trying to push myself to go to a lot of different sites. So this is why I also potentially didn't visit the Volvo Museum, which was in the city, or I didn't go to most of the sites I probably didn't visit, so I definitely missed something out. But instead, I went to, I'm not sure if this is a park or the forest, but it took me about an hour from the place where I lived, and I lived actually close to the stadium, so for those who can imagine what the map looks like, they probably understand more or less where I live. So I decided to go to the lakes, and the lakes that I went, one of them called Storades del Sion. Sorry for penetrating your language, for all the Swedes that may watch. So this is the lake, and it was really picturesque, and I just went there and I was just sitting there reconnecting with the nature. And I think I already made this video and explained it how important for me the nature has become, because before I didn't really value it that much in terms of how cool it is to just sit outside on the green lawn next to the trees, just looking at the water potentially. So you feel so much peace in your soul that it just just liberates you, so to say, from all the routine and all the bad thoughts that you may have. And I think it was sort of re-energizing back in the days. What I also found quite interesting that a lot of people were, because the weather was pretty hot, at least I didn't expect that from Sweden. So a lot of people were just chilling and swimming in the lake, and it still was quite busy. I didn't expect it to be sort of busy, especially as I went, I think, at the beginning or mid-June, and those were weekdays, so I didn't really expect so many people be chilling, but still, it is what it is. It's not as if anybody bothered me or anything. It just was a bit surprising that, a lot of people lying on the lawn trying to get suntan and, just swimming in the lake. I also thought about doing that, but then I definitely didn't plan for chilling this way. So, as I was walking around, I was checking out the center, and I think the first place, which I also didn't know was existing before. I sort of heard of it, but I didn't realize that it was actually in Gothenburg, like this oldest amusement park, or I think one of the oldest. It's almost 100 years old. I was so shocked that it actually still exists. It's called Liseberg, and I actually learned about it when I stepped out of the bus when I was coming from the airport, and the stop which I needed to take was exactly next to that amusement park. And it was crazy, so I tried to learn a bit more about it, and it turned out to be that this is one of those oldest parks, as I've heard of, because actually I think Scandinavia is kind of famous for having those old parks. Back there, I think Oslo also had one. I think it's called Tivoli, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I briefly explained in my video about the Oslo about him. So I just basically split my days into checking out the city center, the day going into the nature to those lakes, and then the day where the concert should have happened, I also went for a couple of hours to check out the amusement park, as it supposedly should have been pretty cool. Yeah, it looked like the sort of the Disneyland, which a lot of kids are dreaming about, and actually was quite expected. There was a lot of kids, of course. I tried, I think, a couple of rides, and then I spent the rest of my. I'm not sure if either you were paying money or you need to buy their currency. I can't really remember that, but I remember spending quite some cash on this lottery situation when you need to guess which number is going to appear, and who guessed the closest gonna win. And I was few times so close, and yet I lost. Was a bit disappointing, but still, so I spent a bunch of cash there, and then I went on a couple of rides. So after all, I was kind of pleased with my experience. Right after amusement park, I went to party hard at the Foo Fighters concert, and Lord, this probably was the best concert I've been so far. Like, it was the biggest for sure. It wasn't my first stadium concert. I still had only few of them anyways, but it definitely was the most atmospheric ones, When you have this connection with the band, when you know a lot of songs, and then when the whole stadium starts to sing something, and then, Dave Grohl is so great at building this sort of connection. He's such a great entertainer, and, they even told this story of the previous Foo Fighters concert in Gothenburg. So they went there, and Dave Grohl, while jumping, he fell off the stage and broke his leg. And then he was giving a concert while sitting on a chair, and there was the medic who was trying to fix his leg pretty much at the same point of time, while he was just rocking something, jamming, and playing the concert on. So they actually made the whole reference about it at the very beginning of the concert, and I didn't know that thing existed. So especially for that place, they decided to make this stunt. So there was a stuntman dressed up as a Dave Grohl who just ran out of stage, and he started jumping, and then he just fell off the stage, and everybody were like laughing at it, because of like few moments after, everybody first were shocked again, because I suppose they all knew that it happened last time. And funny enough, most of the audience was this recurring audience who already went for the previous concert. So the stuntman fell, and then the real Dave Grohl is appearing on the stage saying hello, hello, all the rest. And then they found this medic who helped him last time, and the whole stadium was singing the song that Foo Fighters has called My Hero. I'm still getting the goosebumps, like even now remembering about it, I just, I don't know. That was so nice. It's probably the best experience of the concert overall. Like, I think one of my first dreams was to get to Blink 182 concert, and yeah, I sound extremely childish now, while Foo Fighters is more mature, and I think it's my more mature favorite band, of choice of a favorite band. So yeah, that was definitely a great experience. Like, I enjoyed every single moment of it, and the stadium was actually quite packed. Yeah, like the people who were all the way in the back in the ground, like the fan zone, I think those were leaving every now and then. But for the most part of the show, it was packed. And then, of course, everybody did this trick with the lights. And the whole concert was quite long. I think it was for about 3 hours, or even 4 hours, something like this. I didn't expect it to be that long. They played all the hits. They played a bunch of the best tracks from the new album. Like, the whole tour was dedicated to the new album. So usually that means that the band would play just the album, mostly, and then maybe some of the best hits. But here they played everything. I don't know, they played 30 songs? Maybe 20 something for sure. And it was crazy. They were jamming. They were working with the audience, with the public. Like the guy, the drummer guy, he was singing one of the songs. Then Dave Grohl, as you may know, he used to be a Nirvana drummer, went on the drums, and then they were jamming something, and it didn't feel like this concert with a really strict deadline and agenda that most of the concerts actually feel are. So it really felt that Foo Fighters enjoyed the moments they were on the stage, and especially in Gothenburg. And that's where I also learned, like, by having this stunt, he was saying all the time, and that he told the story that how much they loved being in Gothenburg before. And first he didn't really buy into that thing, because it felt to me that most of the times bands are telling this. And when he was saying that his audience, his public in the Gothenburg was his favorite place to play, or in Europe at least, you really started to see and feel it. Especially the way they behave with the public, not just playing and being great at playing this, but also just the way they trying to entertain the audience and make you feel sort of special. Like, even if they do it with every concert, then a huge shout out for Foo Fighters. But my decision to go to Gothenburg, besides just seeing this gorgeous city with neoclassical architecture, I had the best concert in my life so far. And I don't regret any second I spent in Gothenburg and in Sweden overall. So that was my take on my short trip to the Gothenburg. I hope you guys liked it. And what is your favorite band? Where will you go in order to see them? How far? Because for me, that was as far as going to Sweden. Thank you very much, guys, for listening and tuning in, and I'll see you next time.